Greetings, babies. I love you. I am here in Salida, Colorado. Oh, look, that's nice. Go that way. And I am just going for a walk. I thought I would speak to you again and kind of just be with you for a minute. Each video that I'm doing, I am trying to convey information, material, data sets to you that you can use in your life to improve it, to make it more optimal, to develop and encourage optimal efficiency, optimal conditions, an optimal quality of life. And that's what you're doing here. Your mother and I came together to create you intentionally. And through that love and connection, you were birthed. You bursted into this dimension, into this reality, into your utilization of your avatar, your body. Where am I? I want to go up the side of this hill. And so I want you to, obviously, as your parents and as fellow human beings, we want you to have the best life we can develop for you, the best life we can create. And that's why I've always engaged in activism, because activism is just being active. It's in the fucking term. But active from an optimal position means active towards specific ends, like health, like prosperity, like community, like not necessarily the word culture, but what culture is supposed to be. Life experience. Without certain prerequisites covered, you cannot enjoy that even close to optimal. So, or I'm not going to jack universal theory's a word like that, but I mean, that's the word. That's why he uses it. Now, he might not even mind because it's not his word, obviously, but the utilization, it's such an apt term. It's so descriptive of what we're talking about, because people don't want to talk about right and wrong. They don't want to talk about good and bad. So we're moving to more scientific terms like correct and incorrect, suboptimal and optimal, inefficient and efficient. And these words will help articulate and describe, demonstrate what we're talking about as it functions. And that's one thing. While many people have allowed obviously their intelligence to be decreased, but also their vocabulary and their ability to use rhetoric, other people have been engaging in the development of language that eliminates a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding. For instance, if I say I am an advocate of the Venus Project, that one sentence to the right ears will and does eliminate a lot of the misconceptions and misunderstandings about what I would be talking about if I had to sit there and describe and fill somebody in on what the Venus Project is. If I had to fill them in on what a resource-based economy is. If I had to fill them in on what utilitarianism is. If I had to inform them of what voluntarism is, the conversation would be a lot more difficult to have. This is where I'm going up. This is up. This isn't like I'm aiming down at a flat road. This is going up. It's that incline, that level of incline. So not too bad. Oh, I'm not driving either. So if I say I am an advocate of natural law, if I say I'm an abolitionist or I practice abolition, if I say I practice activism, then these terms to the right ears alert the individuals engaging in the communication of the level of information that they can start at and not have to backtrack, not have to speak in layman's terms. Knowing those terms and somebody say, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that," and or I'm also an advocate, allows us to move right into discussion about the implementation of such things, move right into a space of awareness of how we can move forward and what we can do together and how we can learn from each other's. Because a lot of times, more often than not, being an advocate of these things is just a social standing. It's just a civilization standing, because they have more to offer in other ways. They might practice a specific spiritual tradition. They might be an avid historian, because the people who are aware of the concepts and engage and practice the concepts I'm talking about are top tier, for lack of a better term, knowing and practicing activism, knowing and practicing abolition, knowing and practicing anarchy, knowing and practicing natural law, knowing about and advocating a resource-based economy as opposed to the ones they want you to harp over and talk about, is a badge of honor. It is a badge of honor. When somebody says, "Yeah, I like Mark Prasio's work," I'm like, boom, I know where we at. I know you're dependable. I damn sure know that you are willing to trust your own research and intuition and not let a stupid ass CIA term like conspiracy theorist thwart your efforts or deter you from engaging in the work that you know you should be doing. Not letting somebody call you a sovereign citizen and making you feel like learning the rule book of the game you're being forced to play is a dumb idea or somehow makes you a conspiracy theorist. Even though sovereign means above rule and citizen means admittedly and willfully and blindly ruled, you can't be a sovereign citizen, because if you're sovereign is from the Latin super, reign, which means above rule. Super, above, reign, rule. And citizen means ruled. It's like calling somebody a free slave or an enslaved king. Doesn't exist. Can I have a brew? No. I can go higher, but also have to be at work in 30 minutes. So I'm probably going to go a little higher. So it is important to understand words and their meanings. I was discussing with your mother, and I was like, it's not easy to Google. You can Google Buddhism, you can Google Islam, you can Google Christianity, you can look up and research a myriad of things that people believe and think and feel, but you can't do that for me. You can't do that for people like me. You can find the information, but if I were not to guide you in this format or in some format, then you wouldn't be able to come to an understanding. If anything happens to me or has happened to me, you wouldn't be able to really just get online and be like, look up a term. Like, even if you looked up natural law, it wouldn't tell you about the Venus Project and the resource-based economy platforms and methodologies. Even if you looked up the Venus Project, it wouldn't teach you about natural law. Not everybody who even advocates a resource-based economy knows about natural law or has researched it. Many people do, because it's a logical way to organize society. Just me telling you about sustainability will not teach you about the principles of being an activist or the principles of activism. So I had to formulate this, not just for you, but for me and for humanity, for future generations, so that at least the world knows I live in a time period where I can show and prove, yeah, I did everything I could. I did everything I could, Joe. They just wasn't having it. Earth has Jesus syndrome, Christ syndrome, where you want to be good, but you also think you need to be taught how to be good by somebody else. And then when those people come and actually teach you how to be good, you look them right in the face and crucify them. Every single time. Christ, Jackson, King, X, and so on and so forth. Stop asking to be led if all you're going to do is either allow or directly engage in unaliving and killing your own quote unquote leader, the people that you quote unquote wanted you to, and I'm not talking about from a political standpoint, but from a cultural or at least a human people standpoint. And you also got to look out for the words. It's all in the words. I'm going to teach you what I've come to be aware of as what we're calling green language, which is language that is written into language, or language that exists inside of language and words, like the word allowed. If you're allowed to do something, it means you're all owed the right to do it, or the freedom to do it. And it's all, both whole words are there. All owed, allowed. Another one is culture. Cult, you are. You don't necessarily need the E to make the R sound, just like you don't need it for A-R-E. I think I'm gonna head back now. I'm heading back, but might put some pep in my step as I'm going the wrong direction. But I'm following this here little trail. I gotta go this way. So they're trying to obfuscate words. Obfuscate means to make a word or a concept or some kind of experience or situation harder to understand than it is. I could say, oh yeah, I got to go like this so that I can get back to the right trail. Then I could say, there are pathways that exist in the three-dimensional world. These pathways intersect oftentimes, naturally, and manufactured. When they are manufactured, oftentimes they are called a path. When these paths are like, I am physically walking on that's obfuscation. You're making something that's simple more complex. Or even worse, if I was to tell you, in the three-dimensional construct, the pathways exist, and I'm like, and I'm flying over it right now. So now I'm using obfuscation to lie. I'm making it more complex. I am levitating across the pathway using electromagnetic thought consciousness force. It looks like my feet are standing on the ground, but in actuality, scientifically, it's not, because nothing ever touches anything. See, I'm obfuscating the fact that I'm just walking on a path. So we have to watch out and be diligent and aware of obfuscation.